Hi friends, it's Lisa Hetrick. Welcome back to my YouTube channel and blog. I'm so grateful you could join me today. I have a fun wreath project today, and we're just going to go ahead and work in my sketchbook here. I've got the Be Creative Bee Paper Company 100% cotton sketchbook. I love it for these kinds of fun projects. I've got some silver black velvet watercolor brushes here. I've got a little porcelain palette. I'm digging this palette. I love it. I just got it recently from one of my local art supply stores. I have a lid here because we're going to draw the circle to build the wreath. And I've got some liquid watercolors from Dr. P.H. Martins. And this project, I'm not quite ready to let go of the colors of fall. It's a couple days before Thanksgiving, and I just wanted to paint a little laurel wreath to just have some fun with it. So I'm grabbing a few of these Hydrus watercolors, and I will have them listed in the notes below. And I'm just going to go ahead and do some playing with them and do some color mixing and just kind of see how it goes. I've got some Peerless metallics here, and I'm just kind of throwing a bunch of colors down. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my sketchbook and just kind of do a quick flip through. Here are some of the other projects that I've shared in videos along the way, and I will list these also in the notes below if you want to go back and take a sneaky peeky and watch these videos. So just some fun stuff. This is a fun watercolor sketchbook. I love it. It's 100% cotton, and I just really enjoy using it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so I have a plastic lid from one of my reusable cups, and I'm just using it so that I can trace this crescent shape with a pencil, so that's going to be kind of just my lines that I'm going to be using to start to build this laurel wreath. All of the techniques that I'm sharing in this little paint along video can also be found in my online classroom in my newest class called Painting Whimsical Wreaths. And you can find that class at craftyourjoy.com. And I have a special for $5 off that class. You can see the code in the notes below. So I hope to see you in the classroom. So right now I'm just mixing up, taking some of these colors and mixing up some greens and just kind of playing around with the different values of green to create the wreath. So you can see that I'm dipping into the liquid watercolors with the turquoise color and also the yellow color, and just kind of playing a little bit to see what kind of hues I can create. So this green is really bright. So it's more of like a bright yellow green. It's got a little more yellow in it. So as I'm just continuing to play here, I'm adding a little bit of the blue color into that green that I've already created. And now I'm getting more of a leafy green simply by mixing a little bit of that brown into the colors. So here are the three colors that I have used to create that mix, and I'm just kind of loving it. I just kind of love playing around with different colors intuitively just to see what you're going to get. So these liquid watercolors from Dr. P.H. Martins are really nice. They are high quality, artist grade. So you can see that I've created a little bit of that sap green color that you can find in tubes and in other places. So I took those three liquid watercolors together to create that sap green color. And I really, really enjoy these liquid watercolors because they are fun to work with. They're also pretty high end as far as being light fast and high quality. So they don't fade in the light, and they're really, really nice watercolors to work with. So if you like liquid watercolors, they're really easy going to work with, and a little bit lasts a long time. So a little bit goes a long, long way. So just playing around with mixing up some watercolors before we start to go in. I'm playing with these greens, and now I'm just going to start to dive in a little bit and start to create the leafy elements for this laurel wreath. I'm going to turn on a little bit of music so that you can watch me kind of create, and I'll pop back in a little bit and we'll talk a little bit more about building this wreath. So I'm popping back in just to talk a little bit about what I'm going to head into next. And I'm just got these two colors here that I'm going to be working with to create some blooms. So I have a quinacridone magenta, and I'm adding a little bit of the brown into it just so I can get a deeper, richer red to start to create a little bit more of the feathered elements, a little bit more of the leaves, and just kind of add some of the greenery, but I'm doing it in this rich, rich red that's kind of reminiscent of all the fall colors that are starting to fade right now as we move into more of our wintry season and holiday season. So I'm just loving the way this laurel wreath is coming together. It's a little bit wonky, and I'm just using some really simple brush strokes to create some feathery elements in that color. And just the really fun thing about this is just you're just having some fun and painting intuitively. I didn't draw any of these elements out. I'm just using the brush and the paint to help express what it is that I'm trying to create. And I really didn't have a plan. I'm just kind of filling in and just kind of creating this whimsical wreath, and using simple brush strokes, simple brush strokes and paint. And anyone can do this. You can totally do this with your brushes. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to mixing up a few other colors that are going to provide a nice contrast to the deeper, richer reds that I've got going in this laurel wreath. So I'm adding a little bit more of quinacridone magenta to the mix of the darker red that I had created, because I want to start to create the bloom in the center of this laurel wreath. So I'm playing around with colors, and here's the thing that I love to encourage you to do, and I talk a lot about this in the Painting Whimsical Wreaths class online. I talk a lot about using your color intuitively and what feels warm to you and what might feel cool to you, and how to just play around with mixing the color to get the contrast and the look and the feel that you want, and just intuitively playing around with it. Of course, there are lots of different color recipes and hard and fast rules with color theory, but I really, really love to encourage you to just get your paints out, even if they aren't liquid watercolors, and just mix them up and see what you can create and what different kinds of values of color that you can create with just a simple palette of, and I just have a few colors here and I'm just playing around with what I have. Okay, so as I move around and build the petals for these, for the florals, I'm just going to go ahead and turn some music on, and you can watch me just kind of play around and mix up colors. And if you're painting along with me, just go ahead and stop it and start it as you need so that you can paint along and have some fun. So I'll pop back in a little bit. Okay, so I'm popping back in because I'm just trying to figure out how I want to position this laurel wreath. I've been working on it right side up, and I just kind of keep flipping it around and deciding what I'm going to do with it next. So I'm just adding a little bit more color in some of the leaf elements, and this laurel wreath is starting to have a little bit of a shift of a wintry holiday color palette, and but I'm still digging it because we've got all these rich reds and these beautiful sap greens, and I'm just loving it. So, okay, so I decided I'm going to flip the whole sketchbook around and have the laurel wreath come around the top, like an arc from the top. So I'm just went ahead and grabbed my pencil here, and I'm putting the word gratitude inside of the laurel wreath, and I'm going to be painting in this word. And I just love that word. It's such it just has such a loaded word for me. Every day, I'm always, before I even get out of bed, I think about what I'm grateful for. And it's so important to me in my daily practice to do that. And it just really sets a wonderful, nice pace for the rest of my day. So I've just put the word gratitude in here, and it is super wonky. I just hand wrote it in here, and I'm just using my brush with a little bit of that crimson light color that I've mixed up with the liquid watercolors. And I'm just following my pencil lines and having some fun. Now, it is not technically accurate as far as calligraphy writing goes, but that's okay. I have a wonky handwriting style when it comes to my hand lettering, and I'm digging it. I like it, and that's what I'm going to do in my sketchbook here. So just kind of fun here with the brush, playing with my thicks and thins to help pull this word together in gratitude, and just having some fun. So I'm loving it. Okay, I'm going to turn a little bit of music on and take us to the end of the project, and I'll pop back in. I'm popping back in because I think I'm just going to let it be. I've got a little bit of white watercolor here, and I'm just dropping that in, just a little bit of splatter just to add a little extra texture to the top of this project, and I am loving it. I'm so grateful that you could join me today for this project. If you're interested in learning how to paint florals, laurels, and wreaths, I have a brand new class in my online classroom called Painting Whimsical Wreaths, and you can get $5 off the class. The code is listed below, and I'd love to see you in the classroom. I hope you enjoyed this little paint along project in gratitude today. Thanks so much for joining me. Please consider sharing the joy by liking this video and subscribing to this channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.